John Lusk of Lusk Archery Adventures. Series testing, successful hunting. Today I'm going to be testing a new broadhead, a head that I haven't tested before, and that is the Xecutioner. I think there was one test many years ago when I first started testing. It was like a bunch of different mechanicals I tested all at once. I think one of those was an Xecutioner that somebody gave me, but I've not tested them since for whatever reason. But I ran across them at the ATA in St. Louis earlier this year and picked up a few packs, so I'm going to be testing them in the days ahead. This is the hybrid 125 grain. Got a fixed blade part and a mechanical blade part, so I'm really eager to test it and see how it performs. And for the testing, I'm going to be using my regimen for 2024. For a detailed description of that regimen, please check out the video that I posted earlier this year called 2024 Broadhead Test Process. And it'll walk you through all the different testing I do and why I do it, how I quantify it, so forth and so on. It'll answer a lot of the questions that you may have. And for most of the shooting, I'm going to be using my Elite Era compound bow that I am just really thoroughly enjoying this year. And for the accuracy testing, I'm using my Killer Instinct SWAT X1 crossbow that I'm also really enjoying. I'm using Bishop Archery arrows and bolts for all the different testing that I do. All right, let's zoom on in here and check out this Xecutioner hybrid 125 grain and put it to the test. Here's a good look at this head in the closed position. Let's start with the materials. The ferrule is made out of a 7075 aluminum, which, like I always say, if you're going to use aluminum, that's a good one to use because it's stronger than some steels. But I will note it's pretty long and pretty vented. Interested to see how durable that's going to be. The blades are 440 stainless steel, which is really a nice steel to use for blades, and they're sharpened on the main. The fixed blade is sharpened on the back as well as the front, and they're 0.038 inches thick by my measurements. Now in the closed position, it's like 0.9 inches this way, and then 3/4 of an inch this way. And the way it works is upon penetration, this O-ring that holds the blades in place rolls back, and the blades are able to open to their full position, which is 2.5 inches of cut. That's a big cut. So you got 2.5 inches this way and 3/4 of an inch that way. I'll just tell you straight up, this is going to be a good turkey head. Okay, regardless of how it performs and everything else. Man, this is a big cutting broadhead. I'd love to use this on turkeys. So I don't know. Again, there's that venting. I don't know how durable that's going to be, but we're going to find out. I'm really eager to put this head to the test and see how it performs. It got the 7 ring. Now, I shot it several times just in case I was doing something wrong, but that's the best I could get it to do. It took 165 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 10 on a 10-point scale, plus a 0.35 bonus for being sharper than the baseline of 200. It penetrated 9.25 inches, which is really impressive for a head of this size. So it gets the full score of 10 points plus a bonus of 0.28 points for going beyond the standard of 9 inches. However, I do want to note that the entrance hole is the size of the head in the closed position, since it's a front or over-the-top deploying broadhead. The blades remain closed until they hit the gel, and right as they hit the gel, they were fully opened, and they did stay fully deployed and opened throughout the entire penetration in the gel. It took an additional 25 grams of force to cut through the wire, which is a 9.5 on a 10-point scale. It penetrated through 50 layers, so it got a 7.14 on a 10-point scale. However, I do want to note that because it's front deploying, the blades did not fully deploy until quite a few layers into the cardboard, and then that tip is really long with just a 3/4 inch cut at the tip, so that 50 layers is accurate, but it is a bit deceptive at the same time. After the 3 shots through the MDF, the head is still in excellent condition, giving it a 10 on a 10-point scale. And here it is after 2 shots through the steel plate. And man, it held together really well. This surprised me and impressed me. Now, in the durability test with mechanicals, I shoot them in the closed position as much as I'm able, unless the blades get locked open or something like that. And so you can see the holes are the blades in the closed position because they don't open on impact. And so they're small holes relatively, but decent holes just at the same time. And you can see there was a bit of edge chatter, not a ton, but a bit of edge chatter on the blades themselves. But otherwise, it held together very well. So it gets a 9 on a 10-point scale. So here's a head after all the durability testing, and it did really well through the MDF and surprisingly well through 2 shots in the steel plate. I was really impressed and surprised with that. But then into the cinder block, as you can see, it just couldn't handle that. Now, again, that's only 3% of the overall score. It's not the most important test, but it is interesting to note where the failure is going to happen here. This ferrule is just a bit vented there and pretty long and couldn't handle that kind of a hard impact. So what'd you think? Hey, it did a lot better than I thought it was going to do. I really did not think it was going to make it through the steel plate. I didn't know how it was going to penetrate, so forth and so on. But man, it did really well. I mean, it couldn't handle the concrete, but that's okay. For what it is, I think it exceeded my expectations. I was a little concerned about the flight. I couldn't tell if the O-ring was coming off in flight, but I shot it quite a few times and recorded the best flight that I could get from it. But it might just have been some kind of anomaly or something. I don't know. I couldn't explain it. But overall, it performed really well and got a good score. So you check out the score sheet and see how it performed in the areas that matter to you the most and see if it might be a good fit for you and your setup and your hunting needs. And stay tuned for the overall cumulative score as well as the corresponding lust grade and also the list of all the discount codes that I can offer just to save you some money in broadheads and other related archery gear. Thanks for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you next time.